you mentioned the Super Zonal set for 27th and the 28th. So how many schools are taking part, and why is this a big deal? Why is this a big deal for schools in Kumasi?
Well, 60 schools will be participating in both the boys and the girls division, which is an increase in the schools that competed last year. We had 44 schools competing in both divisions. So it means that now we have a heightened competition from different schools who will be coming in. I think the surprise packages in terms of schools who failed to make the cut for the Super Zonals will be that of KNUST, SHS. They won their zone, that was last year, and they missed out by just 2 points. So clearly it tells that they will be feeling very sore, feeling very unhappy looking at the lineup for the Super Zonals. But all the big schools that you expect are in there. In the boys division, high school do not have much more of a record as regards this competition, but they've qualified, and they always add to the buzz, the euphoria, especially with how they are able to make the stands and the stadium surroundings very, very exciting. They will be partaking in this year's Super Zonals. There is the usual schools that you expect to be here. Prempeh College, who are the defending champions. There is Opokuwari School, who last won it in 2008. There is also Okes. There is TIMAS, hoping to win it for the first time since 2018 for the boys division. And so you expect all the usual suspects, schools who actually have history and have prestige at this stage in terms of school athletics. You expect them to be there. And then for the girls division, St. Louis are the defending champions. They are hoping to win it for the third consecutive time and emulate feats that have been chalked by St. Monica's and also TIMAS and Kumasi girls. They will all be participating. So it makes it all exciting that no giant in terms of schools have missed out as regards the Super Zonal. So we are set for an exciting competition. It is going to happen for 2 days. And I must say that even for the old boys who make it more interesting, they will also come in their numbers to support their respective schools. So it is going to be fun. Now, you asked the question as to why this is a big deal. It is actually a big deal because Ashanti has been much more like the benchmark for school sport. It is not just the competition that happens on the fields and also on the tracks, but also the buzz around it and how serious the people take their school sports. Because, for instance, I went to Opokuwari and I completed like as far back as 2005. But to date, I still follow the school sports. And yesterday, we were having a discussion in our school group, and the discussion centered on how surprising it is that during our time, Opokuwari were very consistent in terms of winning. And even after we left school, they were still winning. Now, from 2008 till date, Opokuwari is yet to taste Super Zonal's glory. And the questions we keep asking ourselves is, one, what has accounted for this? There have been several blames. I remember there were times where the old boys had to agitate over our poor performance at the Super Zonals, and it led to the transfer of the headmaster. So it is actually a big deal for us over here. And it is not just an Opokuwari thing. If you go to Prempeh, it's the same thing. Kumasi High, if you go to all the schools, they take school sports very, very serious because of the kind of prestige it brings to them. And you can see that with every school that is dominating now, they have a certain project that they are running, which is heavily backed by the administration, led by the headmaster or the headmistress. For instance, Supercars. They have this girl, Blessing Oboa. She set a record in 3,000 last year. She won't be competing this year because of a strange injury. And I can speak to the level or the extent that the school has gone just to find out the cause of her injury. There is one girl for TIMAS, Fulera Sulemana. TIMAS started catering for her right from JHS2, and they had recruited her to join their team, even at a time where she hadn't even completed their BEC. And when she finished her BEC, they bought her a smartphone just to entice her to join them.
Oh, wow.
And she competed this year. Yeah, and she will be competing in the Super Zonals. There is one boy for Armed Forces, and he was actually their trailblazer during the qualifiers or the zonal Interco. And he is a twin. The original plan for him was that he was supposed to join Prempeh. Now, Prempeh reneged on certain promises they had given because per the conditions, Prempeh was supposed to admit not just him, but his twin brother, and also give some assurances that upon completion of a second cycle schooling, they would facilitate him getting an opportunity to be recruited into the armed forces. Now, when Prempeh were not in a position to guarantee that, his parents decided to revoke the agreement they had with Prempeh, and then they quickly had to agree with armed forces. So what armed forces did was that they admitted AT and his twin brother, and then they have also given assurances that when he completes school, they will fast track his recruitment into the military. So clearly you can see that these schools take it as it is some sort of World Cup for them, and they don't joke with their super zonals. Their bragging rights, everything that it offers, I think it is much more serious. And I mentioned Ashanti being much more like the benchmark for school sports, and it is not just a regional thing, it's a national thing. If you check the over 20 records that have been set at the national school sports level, Ashanti has like 10 for the boys and 9 for the girls. And so we dominate. And we've also been producing national athletes. Edwin Gadayi was competing in 100 meters for TIMAS right back in 2018, the last time they won it. And Edwin Gadayi is a national team member. He competes or he runs for the Ghana athletics team. There is also Rose Amuenima, who was part of the Olympians who represented Ghana at the last Olympic Games. Rose also set a record, and that was with Kumasi girls. And so you can look through and you see that Ashanti has actually contributed not just to the regional success, but national success as well in terms of athletes and in terms of records. So it's actually a big deal over here.
Great stuff. Our listeners, you can go on to Facebook just to see some highlights of the records and some of the races Michael Asare Boadu is talking about. Michael, so now the Super Zonals are it's set for takeoff. Which events will be the hotly contested ones, and which schools are set to play out their rivalries on the running track? If I were coming to watch Super Zonals in Kumasi for the very first time, which events are the events that I should not miss?
To start with the sprint events, 100 meters, 200 meters. Now, it has always been something that OWAS, Prempeh, and TIMAS will grapple for. Now, I think there will be a new order in the sense that Chenebo Akudia presented one guy, Godfred, and he is as excellent as you can find. He actually evokes memories of Achunyamadi. He's a typical heptathlete. He runs 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters. He does 800 as well. And he does the relays. He also does certain field events too. Now, he was excellent in the zonal qualifiers to the extent that he beat Opokuwari in the 100 meters. All the athletes that Opokuwari presented for the finals, there were 2. He beat them in the 100 meters, he beat them in the 200 meters, and then in the hurdles, he finished in the top 3 in both the 110 meters hurdles and then the 400 meters hurdles.
Okay.
That aside, he also competed fiercely with Opokuwari during the field events. So he single-handedly qualified Chenebo Akodia for the Super Zonals. And is actually someone that almost everybody who was present has earmarked that he will offer stiff competition to the likes of TIMAS, Prempeh, and even Opokuwari, because he was very fierce as a competitor. He's a final year student, and the years of competing at the Interco has earned him some kind of experience where he is now in a position to exert that and then use it to his advantage at the expense of the other schools. So if you hear a Chenebo Akodia student winning any of the sprint events, do not be surprised. And that is the Godfred I'm speaking of. Also, in the girls, I mentioned Fulera Sulemana. Now, Fulera Sulemana is the one who will fly high the flag of TIMAS phobia, because they are also aiming to win the girls division for the first time since 2019. Now, the torch bearers for the St. Louis team, one of them was Aisha. Aisha has completed, she's now at KNUST. And so St. Louis are presenting new names, but they are also excellent athletes. So Fulera Sulemana will be leading the charge of TIMAS, and then St. Louis will also be presenting their own athletes, trying to see if they can do that repeat. So I think it is one thing that most of those who will be coming to observe the games will be having their eyes on. How St. Louis are able to do the 3P successfully despite opposition or despite a challenge from TI Amas and then Kumasi girls. But I think it is going to be exciting. So aside the sprint event, there are also the relays, the 4x100 meters and then the 4x200 meters. For the 4x100 meters, it has been something for Pokuare. But I think they will face fierce competition from TI Amas this year. The Amas team that they presented was in 2 batches. So during day 1 of their Interco, they presented their team B. And then on day 2, the final day, they presented their actual team. And trust me, they are that good. They are very, very good. So they will offer stiff competition to Opokuare. Then in the hurdles, what happened last year was that OWAS dominated the hurdles. And they have brought on board another athlete, student athlete, who is also quite versatile. He does the 100 meters, 200 meters. But he won the hurdles, and the time that he set during the zonal qualifiers is actually the best time throughout. So OWAS will try to still assert their dominance and then see if they can dominate the hurdles and see whatever happens from there. But trust me, there are some individual battles that will be fought. There are some school rivalries that will also come to bear. And everything will just add up and make it all exciting. And let's see how things go. And for Kumasi High, they were quite poor during the Interco, and they want to come in and then save some face and see how things go. Because it has happened before. In 2023, Prempeh College finished the Super Zonals with 13 points. In 2024, they went back to the drawing board, worked things out, and they came back to win the Super Zonals. So it means that irrespective of your performance, either at the Interco or the previous Super Zone, if you do your stuff right and you come back well, you are in a position to win. So I think it is going to be exciting and it's going to be fun. And then also expect some records to be broken or new records to be set, because last edition, we had like 5 different records being broken. So let's see how far things go. It's going to be exciting, trust me.
Wonderful stuff there. Our listeners, once again, go to Facebook. We've put a very interesting infograph there. Asking, it's an infograph detailing the schools that have won the big awards or the big prizes in the Ashanti Regional Super Zonals. And just go there and comment. If your school is there, just drop a thumbs up, raise your hand. Yesterday, I put that on X. Very interesting results I got there. Some people's schools were not in there at all. So if your school is there, please go and drop a like or a comment. If your school is not there, well, maybe you may have to wait. Just Michael, just finally on the Super Zonals, Raymond was asking a very important question, and I'll ask you. You've covered this for a while. Do you often see officials from, say, Ghana Athletics there to also watch and see things for themselves and maybe pen down a few names of potential athletes they would want to work with in the future? Or you don't have some of these officials there from the respective national associations or teams just to see what's going on the ground?
Well, I've seen them on various occasions during the Interco, even during the circuit games. Yesterday, there were reps from the second cycle institutions like Scouts who were observing the JHS level, the circuit games. I saw not less than 5 teachers from different schools there. So they were observing. And then also for the Ghana Athletics, during the Interco, I've seen their regional organizer in Apiakubi. I've seen Emmanuel Tufo, who is also representing them at the regional level. I've seen them a couple of times come and observe. And it's not just them. Various scouts from the various tertiary institutions, the universities are also here. For KDUST, it is always a common feature to see Coach Roy, always present during the Interco. I've seen reps from Winneba, I've seen reps from UCC, Legon. They've all come to observe. So it is actually a competition that draws that kind of participation or involvement from various scouts from various institutions. And for the GAA, trust me, they do have their men on the ground to observe and monitor everything that happens, and then they forward every report to them. And it is through these initiatives that they were able to recruit athletes like Achinyamadi. Achinyamadi was competing for TI Amas, and he was recruited during the Interco and the Super Zonals. It has happened. right from the 90s to date, Mary, Zuta, Fokers, and all the others. So they do come. They actually have their eyes on the ground. They have their men on the ground too, and they do send them the report.
I see. Wonderful stuff. Raymond, so Michael has answered your question.
Yeah.
You were wondering if the officials, the officials are there.
No, but you know, it's not impressive.
How so?
You know, there are a lot of sport disciplines at that event. So there's discus, shot put.
Yeah. It's not like we have a discus association or high jump.
I'm saying high jump and triple jump. All of those ones. Pole vault, yes. All of those ones take place. So somebody should be there. Maybe even from a sports directorate point of view.
Yeah, but he says that.
No, wait, I'm coming. With the mindset of even looking at certain disciplines and saying, oh, maybe we haven't seen representation from Ghana in this discipline. Shot put, discus, javelin, hammer, all of those ones. And now begin to coin a policy document that will deal with some of these sport disciplines. So, I mean, the athletics and the high jumps and the, you know, would definitely have representation. Would definitely pick information, pick data on those. But there should be somebody who is specialized in some of these other ones that we feel we don't need. Because, Nathan, when you watch Olympics, these ones that look like low-hanging fruits, the hammer and the javelin and those ones, I think that we have athletes who are good enough in Ghana to represent us in some of these sports. But we are hiding behind, oh, they don't have an association. They don't have an association. Then those talents go to waste. Because I've seen some very powerful javelin throws at Interco. Very powerful. I've seen some very powerful throws when it comes to shot put at Interco. But all of those ones, we are not able to provide proper data on that to even think of having an association that will deal with some of these things. And these are the areas I want us to be looking at.
Athletics.
These are the areas I want us to be looking at.
Okay, well, Ghana Athletics, you know what to do when you go out. Not only look at the sprinters, but look at some of the other
because me like this
field
discus and hammer. I used to be very good. I used to be very good.
As for you, there, you used to do everything.
Oh, goalkeeper, I do some before. Discus, I throw some before. Javelin, I throw some before. Hammer, I do some before.
You don't even look like a hammer thrower. Oh, you don't even look
hammer,
like...
mini. When
you watch the Olympics and the IAAF events, have you seen the size of the people who throw the hammer?
Have you seen Small Boy Danger?
Do they look anything like
I've seen Small Boy Danger before.
This is SportyFM, the voice of sport.